It's 12:03. I'll call this meeting to order. Next would be roll call.
Alda Benavides, present.
Armin Garza, present.
Mary Hernandez, present.
Nereida Cantu, present.
And I think with that, Dr. Sainz, sorry, I declare a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone.
Do we have any public comments, Doc?
We have no public comments, Mr. Salinas.
Okay, so then up next, guys, would be the public hearing to discuss the La Joya Independent School District State Financial Integrity Rating System.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. Mr. Joel Trevino, Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Finance, will do this report on the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Thank you, Mr. Trevino.
Thank you, Dr. Sainz. Good afternoon, Board, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Sainz, and of course, the committee members, community members. Since this is a public meeting to discuss the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, also known as the first report for the 2019-2020 school year. This report is based on fiscal year ending 2019. What are the first goals and objectives? What are they? The goals is to facilitate effective and efficient use of resources, also to strengthen the fiscal accountability of the district. The objectives is to provide an analysis tool for school officials, increase the proportion of resources used in direct instructional activities, increase the efficient use of resources in school support activities, and identify, recognize outstanding performance, and increase the financial well-being of public schools. How the ratings are assessed. Okay, there are 15 indicators. If we answer no to indicators 1, 2A, 2B, 3, or 4, then the district will automatically receive an F for substandard achievement. If we answer yes on those, then also the district would have to, is determined based on a point basis from indicators 6 through 15. And right here we can see that to receive an A, which is the highest rating of a superior achievement, the district would have to receive between 90 to 100 points. And down the line, a B would be above standard, and that's between 80 and 89 points. And a C meets standards, 60 to 79. And if we can receive an F for substandard achievement, if we answered no to any of those indicators, or our points are less than 60. Okay. I'm happy to present to you that the La Joya Independent School District earned an A for superior achievement for the rating for the 2019-2020 school year. This is based on financial data ending for the fiscal year ending August 31st, 2019. I mean, this is something not that the finance does on its own, but it's a joint effort of all the different departments. We are very proud that we were able to bring it this year up to an A compared to last year that we were above standard.
How many points did we get, Joel?
We received 90 and we're gonna 92 points, Dr. B.
Thank
Okay.
you.
As part of the requirement for the first presentation in the public meeting is for us to review all the indicators and do a comparison of how we responded, what was our score in the 18-19 and the 19-20, okay? So I will be going through each one of the indicators. Indicator number 1 was the complete annual financial report and data submitted to the Texas Education Agency within 30 days of the November 27th or January 28th deadline, depending on our fiscal year end. For 2018-19, we answered yes to that indicator, as well for 19-20. The due date is on February the 28th. TEA received the report on January the 22nd of 2020. Okay. Indicator 2A, was there an unmodified opinion in the annual financial report on the financial statements as a whole? Of course, we answered yes for 1819 and yes for 1920, and La Jolla received an unmodified opinion. This is the highest opinion that can be awarded for the financial audit report that the district does on an annual basis. Indicator 2B, did the external independent auditor report that the annual financial report was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, and federal funds? Of course, we answered yes for both 1819 and 1920. The external auditor reported no material weaknesses in our annual report. It was a clean audit. Indicator number 3, was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? Of course, we answered yes. There were no disclosures in the annual financial report and or other sources of information concerning default on debt agreement. We made all our payments on a timely basis. On indicator number 4, did the school district make timely payments to the teacher retirement system, Texas Workforce Commission, Internal Revenue Service, or any other government agency? For 1819 and 1920, we answered yes. La Jolla ISD made timely payments to all of those organizations. Okay, we were not in default. Indicator number 5 was not scored this year nor last year. Okay? So since we answered yes to all of this, we move on to the second level, which is the points that we have to receive. Okay. Indicator number 6 was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures, of course, excluding facilities acquisition and construction. In 1819, we received 8 points. In 1920, we received all 10 points. The days of cash on hand that La Jolla ISD had as of August 31st, 2020, was $91.67. Okay. 2019, I'm sorry. Indicator number 7 was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debts. In the 1819, we received 10 points. In the 1920, we received 8 points. Yes, La Jolla ISD ratio is 2.82. Current assets of 170 million to current liabilities of 41.4. So we went down on that one, 2 points. Indicator number 8 was the ratio of long-term debt liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency. For 1819, we received 10 points. 1920, we received 10 points. Yes, La Jolla ISD ratio was 0.465 with long-term liabilities of $243 million compared to total assets of $522 in assets. Indicator number 9, did the school district general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures, excluding facilities acquisition and construction? If not, was the school district's number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? Here we received the 10 points both on 1819 and on 1920. Yes, we met this indicator, the point, because of the second question. La Jolla ISD received the 10 points based on the results from the second question. The ratio was, of course, 91.67 cents. Indicator number 10 was the debt service coverage ratio sufficient to meet the required debt service. In 1819, we were at a 0. We received 0 points. 1920, we brought it up to 4 points. La Jolla IS ratio was at 1.0977. Indicator number 11 was the school district administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio. For 1819 and 1920, we received 10 points on both years. Yes, since we fall into the 10,000 or more in ADA, In that category, La Jolla SD had a ratio of 0.847. So we were below the ratio, so we received the 10 points. Indicator number 12, did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over the last 3 years? We received the 10 points on both years. Yes, La Jolla SD had a decline of 1.89% versus a 15% requirement. Indicator number 13, did the comparison of Public Education Information Management System, also known as PIMS, data to like information in the school district annual financial report result in a total variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? We received 10 points on both years. Yes, all of our data submitted through the PIMS corresponded equally to the annual financial report. Our variance was 0.0001%. Indicator number 14, did the external independent auditor indicate the annual financial report was free of any instances of material non-compliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? We received 10 points on both years. La Jolla ASD was free of material non-compliance. Indicator number 15, that the school district not receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an over allocation of foundation school program funds as a result of financial hardship. Of course, we are not in a financial hardship based on that question, so our score, we received 10 points on both of them. Yes, La Jolla ASD did not receive an adjusted repayment schedule because of financial hardship. So based on that rating, our total score in the 18-19 school year was 88, and for 19-20 was 92, thus receiving the superior achievement for the district for the 2019-2020 school year. In addition to the presenting those different indicators to the community and to the board, we are also required to do some additional disclosures. And that is what I'm going to go in and present now. Disclosure number 1 is that we need to provide and make available the superintendent's contract. Because of this data is for the 18-19 school year. The superintendent's contract is included in the report, and it includes both superintendents, our previous superintendent, Dr. Alba T. Benavides, and our current superintendent, Dr. Gisela Sciences. They were the both superintendents during that school year. Okay. Disclosure number 2 is any reimbursements received by the superintendent and board members for any type of, whether it be meals, lodging, transportation, mileage, or any other type of reimbursement. This is a total. We have Dr. Alba T. Benavides for a total reimbursements of $3,675. Dr. Gisela Science, $4,390. Our previous board member, John Valente Alanis, 0. Francis Ana Salinas, also previous board member, 2,341. Mr. Oscar Coach Salinas, no reimbursement. Previous board member, Juan J.J. Peña, 0 reimbursement. Ms. Nereida Cantu, 1,537. Ms. Esperanza S.P. Ochoa, a total of 4,366. Ms. Mary T. Hernandez, 6,183. Ms. Claudia Ochoa, previous board member, 8,190. Mr. Alejandro Alex Cantu, 2,816. And Mr. Arvin Garza, 1,391. Those are the reimbursements received during the fiscal year 18-19. Disclosure number 3, any outside compensation of fees received by the superintendent. Of course, for fiscal year 2019, there were no amounts disclosed. And this is, of course, for both Dr. Alba T. Benavides and Dr. Gisela Science. Disclosure number 4, gifts received by the superintendent and board members. For fiscal year end 2019, there were no amounts reported. Disclosure number 5, business transactions between school district and board members. For fiscal year end 2019, there were no reported business transactions between school district and board members. This concludes our presentation on the first report. If there are any questions. At this time, I also would like to thank once again all the staff under the administration and finance, as well as human resources, curriculum and instruction, operations, and student services. I mean, this is not something that we do alone. It's a joint effort among all the different departments.
Thank you so much, Mr. Trevino, for everything you did and you continue to do, and of course your whole department. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions, anyone?
I was just thinking, Joel, that the difference was the debt service coverage ratio, those 4 points.
Uh-huh.
That is what got us over to the 92, because all the others seem the same, even though 6 and 7, they kind of canceled each other out, because one year we got 8, the other year we got 10, and vice versa. But the additional points to get us over were the debt service coverage ratio. So that's good. Got to keep an eye on that. And then the other one is, are there any like ceiling indicators that if you don't get a certain indicator, then you can't get higher than a superior rating?
Yes, so Dr. B, that would be indicator 1 through 5. If we answer no on those, we automatically get an F.
Oh, an F, but you don't. It's not like a B. You just.
No. It's based on that, what we saw, based on the points that we get.
Okay.
Right here. I don't know if you see it on the screen there, on page 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just wondering, because in the charter schools, if you get a certain, you can get above standard, but you can't get higher than that. So I was wondering if it was the same for the public school.
On ours, it's based on the number of points.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trevino, and all of your staff for all of your great work. We appreciate everything you all do. Thank you.
If there's any more public input, Doc, do we have any notice of that?
Not that I have. I don't have any, Mr. Salinas.
Okay, guys, so if anybody has no more questions, I'll go ahead and attain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
A motion, second.
Second.
First and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned, guys. See you in about 10 minutes.